Good morning. We're wrapping up the foundation series. Lesson 28, Aloha Oe. I'm not sure how you say it. Aloha Oe, Aloha Oe. Anyway, it's pretty big deal in the ukulele world to be able to play this song. Let me go post our link over on our website. Website is jollyrogerukulele.com. From there, you'll find our daily schedule on the front page and any sheet music for each class posted there. And things are wrapping up for the spring session, getting ready to do some retooling and rethinking about our schedule and what we're doing for the summer. And we'll be covering, starting to talk about that today. A few things will change, a few things will stay the same. Mostly things will change. All right, so it looks like I got the link posted. Let's double check that it works correctly. Scroll down and click, and it should open up to, we're on lesson 28 of the foundation series. So the foundations is, hey, you really need to know this stuff in order to play to play instrumental ukulele, and of course, as you guys have figured out, this is the hard way to play. Let me post this over on Twitter, jollyrogerukulele.com, jollyrogerukulele.com, and then I always add on the little logo, foundations 28, tweet. All right, tweet. And I think we're all set then. 21 photos of the Duchess of Cambridge she might not want you to see. Great. That's really good. Way to go, Twitter. A way to really suck us into stupid. So we're in a little early today. It's 12:01. We won't start for 4 minutes. So if you are watching the recording of this, fast forward right now. I've been out of town for a couple of days, and it's a great time for me to get my ukuleles tuned up. First person in, if you'll let me know that the sound is good. We don't always have great success with the sound. We almost always have great success with the video. It looks perfectly fine to me, but it doesn't sound good. That. George Clooney eats apples. Alright, I better pull up Aloha Oe and make sure I can play it, right? Storage, downloads, ukulele. Yeah, and anybody logging in, help me make sure that the sound is good. I'm in a little early today, so people are a little bit slow to get here. Holy crud. Let's see. All right, so there's that. And yeah, if you're logged in, just let me know if you can hear me okay and the sound is clean. Sometimes it's interesting. Every time there's an update of any plug-in or any of these things, it's all bets are off whether it's going to sound fine after that. Let's see, Aloha Oe. I used to have a typo on this and I fixed it, so that's good. And let's double check the baritone version of it. Alright, just the pages are different. Awesome. Alright, I think we're in good shape. Alright, we'll wait a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. And da, 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 da. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to change that. I'm pretty sure I'm going to change that. That seems like a way better way to do that. It'll sound so much better, and we won't have to weird out about this sound 4, 4, 4, 4. All right, give me one more minute, guys, and we'll get started. I know we've got a few of you logging in that might not necessarily be logged into YouTube, or you're trying to sneak around. Make sure I don't pick on you. We'll get started here momentarily. 4, 4. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that. That's a better way of arranging that. Next hour, by the way, we're starting our lead sheet program, and so it's actually very cool what we're going to have going on with getting you where you can write your own music and using the system I've been using forever, and that way any songs you like to play, you would just jump in. All right, guys, I'm going to get started. Today it's Aloha Oe on the ukulele, and a couple of thoughts about this song. One, it was written by Queen Liliuokalani. I say that real fast, pretending I know what I'm talking about. And she wrote it in 1878. She was a big fan of the ukulele. Ukulele was a brand new instrument back in 1878. Pretty high chance that she had a ukulele. May very likely have written this on a ukulele. I mean, she definitely had a ukulele. I'm not positive she had one in 1878, but she loved music, and she wrote this song probably on a ukulele, maybe on a guitar, but we pretend she wrote it on a ukulele. And the thing about this piece of music is, if you grow up in Hawaii, every single village sings it in a different way, plays it in a little bit different way. And 100% of the Hawaiians that I've taught over the years, they are always, we get to this one song, they don't have much to say about it all my other way. You get to this one, they're like, that's not how it goes. And so it doesn't matter what village you're from, it's just not quite what you thought. But this particular arrangement was taken from a piece of sheet music from about 1910. So it's much closer to the source than most of the people playing it today. Probably pretty close to what was the original idea behind Aloha Oe. And it'll work just fine. As you can tell, I have no Hawaiian blood in me, and I'm not pretending to be a cultural expert on this. But I do want you to play a beautiful version of Aloha Oe, and it's pretty close to what would have been played in 1910, and it sounds great on your instrument. Good morning, Rob. 58 and rainy in Texarkana area. Good to see you, bud. I did notice there was a big green dot rolling right across Texarkana this morning on the morning news. I went, oh boy, Rob's getting rained on. All right, hopefully the sound is good. Never second guess yourself unless you're not certain. There you go, exactly. All right, so let's talk about the chords. These are all day 2 chords, guys. So this is kind of a nice bookend for everything you've studied. Day 2, we learned the A chord. Ahawe ka. And then you had a D chord. Uina pali ke. And then we had an E7. Nihi. La 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 la. Right, so I'm not going to pretend to sing it because there's no way I can. But hey, Michelle, welcome in. Sunny day here up in Rockaway. Good to see you. So the main chord, obviously A. Secondary chord is your D chord, and then your third chord is E7. And those all go all the way back to this day number 2 when we worked out of this book. So at this point, we're sort of coming full circle, creating songs, taking songs from chords from that book, applying them to your high-level experience that you had. Not unimportantly, those of you guys that are newer to this way of play, this is definitely a book 2 type song. It's definitely a stretch piece, and so if you're fighting it just a little bit, thanks, Rob. If you're fighting it just a little bit, it makes perfect sense to me. So don't think this is sort of a straight line test, like if I can't play this, I should just start over. That's not true at all. This is definitely, if you were in math class and you're on Calc 1 and you get to the end of the book, they hand you Calc 2 at the end of Calc 1, just so you can open the book and start to see what's about to happen to you. Okay, so I'm not going to sing it, but those are your basic chords. Let's play the melody real quick. Should not be too much of a challenge here. The big challenge here is you do have some ones, and then you have some fives, and so you're going to probably, usually when that shows up, you have to make the choice: am I going to play on the 2 and reach back to get my ones, or am I going to play on 1 and reach up to get 5? My typical approach is play in first position if that's going to work. And then reach your pinky up to 5. So let's play it real quick so you can know the melody. A lot of people a lot of people have missed Elvis's Blue Hawaii, so this may be a new song to you. 1, 2, 3. Measure 5. Measure 9. Measure 13. And it's a pretty little melody, it really is. Doesn't necessarily follow the rules that we usually think of in music. She's got a lot of places where she's has a important note coming in on beat 3, which is finishing up the previous thought. Crazy, right? We don't see that a ton in music. It's a super cool idea, and then places where we would expect there to be eighth notes, it shows up as quarter notes, and vice versa. A couple of 16th notes in there down at the end of measure 10 to really test your whether your speed is good. And so, beautiful little tune. Let's walk through every part of the tough uke here, make sure we know what's going on, and then we'll play it a few times. So the first two notes are 0, 0. We like that, right? Okay. Grab your A chord, and then your pinky's going to be up on 4. This is a great chance for you to double check that, one, you're always playing your pinkies, or you're always playing your 4s with your pinky, and that this stretch here, which is not insignificant, the stretch for while you're holding an A, reaching up to the 4, that your hands are able to do that. So strum that. I'd switch out to your ring finger on 2, and then go grab your D chord, 2, 2, 2, 0. Again, pinky on the 4, open. You're already holding the 2 down, so just lift your pinky up. And then a little A chord with a rest stroke. Hit the 1. You're already holding it down. Okay, then put your pinky back up on 4. Oh, did I hit that 1? I'm not sure I hit the 1. Yeah, I did. Then hit the 4, strum the 2, 1, 0, 4, strum that. Now you've got your regular E7, index, middle, and ring. Now you're going to have to abandon the chord, the upper part of the chord, to go grab the 1. You could also slide your ring back to get the 1. And then right back to your regular E7. This stretch here, you're holding the E7, and you got a 5, right? So you may end up having to abandon the chord to hit the 5. And then hit the 4. And probably, you got a choice here. You can either hit the 5, and then the 4 with your ring finger, or just slide your pinky back to the 4. Either of those is acceptable approach. And then another regular E7 at measure 4. Hey, Mary, couldn't get signed in. My fault. Oh, okay. You know, it's interesting. You're the second person today who said they were struggling getting the YouTube open. No, I don't know if maybe it's YouTube, right? Okay, there's a nice. So that E7 at the beginning of 4, then you hit it again. So it's interesting. This is the place where I'm talking about in terms of a little bit less typical rhythm. That first note is the E7, but the thought doesn't end until the second E7, which is on beat 3, and then you immediately start into your 0-0 again. Measure 5, A7, pinky up on 4. Okay, switch out to your ring finger on 2, and then put your D chord on. Pinky up on 4, already holding your 2 down, and then an A chord, just 3 strings on measure 6. Okay, and then the 1. Couple of zeros. Put your D chord on, 2, 2, 2. Okay, hit the 2-0. Slide your index finger back to the 1 and put your pinky up on 4. Okay, and then your pinky drops down to 4, and then the 2, and then the A chord. Twice. That little rest, make sure you don't jump in, let that rest be a thing. That's that little wiggly thing there. I don't put a ton of rests in on my arrangements for ukulele because we just don't have enough sustain to make it even necessary. But in this case, just a brief pause before you hit that 0, and then 2, 2, 2, and then a 0, and then you got 2, 2, 2, 5. That's a bar chord with your 5 all the way back to Amazing Grace. Okay, strum that. Okay, and then where did I leave off? Oh, and then you're already holding down that other 2, so hit that. And then a little A chord, 3 strings, and then 4 strings, and then add your pinky on the 4. Okay, 16th note. You see the double bar above eke, double bar tied, 2 notes together tied with 2 bars. That means you play those real fast. Okay, and while you're playing those, you're already getting your E7 chord on with your pinky up on 4. Change it out for your ring finger, and back to pinky, open, and then a normal E7 in the middle of measure 11. 1, 2, 5. Pinky up on 5. Slide it back to the 4 and add the A chord underneath it. And then get rid of your pinky. Then a 0. D chord. Full D chord. Bar on 2. Pinky up on 5. 2's already down. Grab your A chord. 2 of those. 2 full chords. Pinky up on 4. Hit the 0. Then 1, 2, 4. Open, and then 1, 2 with your 4 on the other string. Change it out for your ring. Pinky up, back up on the second 4. That's the last time you have to do your pinky. This is a pinky workout. Then 1, 0, 0. And bar on 4, F shape in front. Okay, and that's your high C or your high A. If you don't like that sound, you can do a regular A. Okay. I think when I redo the arrangement, I'll do both. Right, and so do both, but ending on that 2-0-1-0 both. It'll sound cool. All right, let's give it a try. Hopefully that made some sense. Guys, we're kind of at a place where we kind of go through songs sort of fast, and if the first time through you're like, gosh, he's going so fast, that I know that, and I think the big takeaway here is you're now at this level where you probably theoretically know what you're supposed to do. Getting your fingers and hands to do it may still be a bit of a challenge. When we're done with the lesson, you go through and you play this through a few times. Look for those trouble spots that are going to be a mess for you, and then work on just those spots. Like, you don't need to work on the whole song because mostly the song is pretty straightforward, but there are plenty of things here where you're like, oh gosh, I don't think that's going to go well for me. Okay, so let's go through it real slow, as slow as I possibly can go, and let's see if we can get this on to make some sense. From the top, tough uke line, 1, 2, 3. O, O, strum, 2, D chord, strum, pinky, O2, A chord, partial, hit the 1. Put your 4 on, switch to E7, okay, 1, back to your E7, pinky on 5, then 4, back to your E7, again, O, A chord with your 4, 2, D chord, 402, partial A, and a 1. Couple of zeros. Hit that other 2. E7 with your 4. Upper 4. And then middle on your 2. And then an A chord. Let it ring, and again. Hit the 0. 2, 2, 2. Full D chord. Bar on 2, pinky on 5. Hit the 2. A chord. Full A chord. Pinky on 4. 2 zeros. E7 with your pinky. Grab the 2 and then the 4. O, regular E7. 1, 2, 5. Pull it back to 4, add your A chord on. Take it off, take your pinky off. Hit the 0 again. 2, 2, 2. A full D chord. Bar on 2 with the 5. Hit the 2. A chord partial. Full. And a 4. Hit the 0. E chord with the pinky one more time. O. Pinky on the top string. And then back to your regular E7. Pinky on 4. And then finally an A chord. Okay, nice. All right. So pretty challenging piece of music. Again, very much fits into the book 2 stuff that we do. Public domain song, very famous song for ukulele players. For most Elvis fans know this, and certainly in Hawaii, this is a well-known song. And so it's one of these things that might have been written on a ukulele, probably, maybe was, but so it may be part of our real repertoire. A ukulele does not, for the most part, have its own repertoire, and so we've borrowed music from all these other genres and forced them on the ukulele. A couple of them will work. I think this one, I'm almost positive 5'2" was written on a ukulele. I'm pretty sure Ain't She Sweet was written on a ukulele. Just the way they lay out on the fretboard is like, this is probably not written on a piano. And then there are finally these days some modern songs that are written on ukulele, but generally those are written by singers to strum with. And so having something like this is sort of rare in our ukulele culture, and kind of delightful to make it like, hey, I really know how to play this song. Let's play it through one more time, then we'll switch to baritone, and then we need to talk about a few schedule changes and what your life's going to be looking like going forward. So let's do that really quick. Play it through Aloha Oe one more time on ukulele from the top. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm using both of those A chords at the end of the high A, bar on 4, F shape, and then switching back to the open A to wrap it up. Sounds kind of cool. I think I'll change that in the arrangement. Mary says, so far I can do melody only. I'm too cold to do tough. It's freezing here in Denver. It's 41, 42 degrees out there. Overcast and cloudy. We had snow last night. We've had the wettest spring on record for many, many moons. And we're all sick of it in Colorado. We're feeling like we're dealing with Armageddon here. If you go more than one day without sunshine, Coloradans sort of lose their mind. They're like, oh gosh, things are terrible. This is the worst year ever. So Mary's hands are like, we're all cramped up. And plus, right, you had 5 days with no Gary, right, which means that you were practicing every single day and staying right on top of it and playing for an hour every day. Probably not, right? You probably took some time off too. And and so it takes a little bit of getting your head around it. No, this is a tough song. Just be patient with yourself on that, and don't if you're like, man, I don't think I can play this, don't think that's an indictment of you or more importantly your teacher who didn't teach you nothing. Let's play this on baritone and see how that goes. Now, as you guys have figured out, part of the reason to do these classes simultaneously is it makes you as a ukulele player have to switch your idea and to switch the way you're playing. And for me, the greatest joy of this instrument is that there's lots of different ways to play it. Some of them cooler than others. And one of the cool ways is just to strum and sing. And you don't necessarily have to sing, but you want to back up the lead guy, which will be me, right? And isn't this fascinating? This is a baritone I got in to the shop, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Put the strings on. It sounded absolutely horrendous. I'm like, I think I got a bad ukulele here. And now as the strings are set up, I'm starting to pull the thing together, get the playing action just about right. The buzz starts to go away. The whole thing starts to sounds very nice. It's still very tight. It'll open up even further. When you guys are buying your next ukulele, you're looking for a solid top like this one has. Solid top, eventually it opens up and then it just starts to mellow over time, and they're really quite lovely. Now a solid top does take a little bit more work to keep it in good order. You do want to keep the humidity about right. Laminate tops, the nice part about laminate tops is that they're a very fancy form of plywood, and so they're much less likely to crack and all that. You can kind of abuse them a little bit more, and if you buy a good one in the beginning, it's going to be great. Alright, baritones. Let's give this a try. Same exact thing. Let's play it through 2 times. You ukulele players, let's talk about your challenge here. Your E chord is, as we've talked about since day 2, you got a bar on 4 and a pinky up on 7. Okay, so that's the shape you're looking for. Bar on 4, pinky on 7. That's your E chord. Well, so when you've got that, you have the choice of either playing your next chord as an open chord. A chord we just worked on, it's down here, but there's also an A chord bar on 4. You notice the last chord we did in our version, the ukulele version, had a bar on 4, and you just put the F shape in front of it. Now that's also an A, right? So rather than sliding all the way down to do this A, maybe you just switch out to your F shape on 4, and you have an A. Okay, so if I'm going to be playing an E, I for sure am going to be thinking about making my A's this way, so I have a whole lot less work to do. Okay, that's the other reason why I don't let you play with capos, because now you just have that knowledge in your head and that ability. Oh, it's a bar chord on 4. This time I'm going to play the C shape, which makes it an E, and this time I'm going to make the F shape, that makes it an A, right? So E, A, and then B7. Since I'm doing those ones with a bar, why not just keep the party rolling? And you don't really have to on ukulele anyway. Bar chord on 2 with your middle finger here on the 3rd string. That's your B7, right? A7's here, B7's right there. So if I'm playing on an ukulele with these 3 chords, and we talked about this on day 2, it probably meant nothing at the time. Da da bum. Ba bum ba dum bum 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 ba dum bum ba dum bum ba da bum bum ba da bum ba dum ba dum bum bum. Ba-da-bum, bum, ba-da-bum, bum. So that's what I'm thinking about, is just do the whole thing with bars. You have that skill set now. There's no reason not to, and it makes your life, because I do think the sound quality is different. If you'd go from a closed E to an open A, ba-da-bum, ba-bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. It just feels a little out of control when you go from a closed shape to an open shape. So if you keep all of them with the bar chords, you probably end up with an overall just a little bit prettier approach to that. So yeah, so there's that. Oh, Pam asked, hey, is that a BK35G? It is a BK35G, and I will tell you that they were having a terrible time getting them in. I don't know if they've gotten in anymore, but I called them up because I had a student who needed a baritone. I'm like, man, I want to get you a 35G, and called Stephanie up at Ohana. She runs the main desk there, and I think she's one of the big wigs there, frankly. I said, Steph, you got any 35Gs? And she says, no, we're out of the baritone ones. I got a few blemish ones back there, and I don't know if you can see this. You probably can't. There's a little tiny imperfection in the finish on this one. And she said, I just got some blems. I says, how many blems do you have? She says, I think there's about 6 of them back there. I said, send me all of them. My players don't necessarily care so much about what it looks like. They care what it sounds like, and these sound amazing. All right. So ukulele players, you have your shapes. Baritone players, you've already been through it. Let's give it a try from the top. Ukulele players, pay attention to your strum pattern. When I was working just now, I was plucking 8 times per measure. You may want to do that. You may want to slow it way down and just play twice per chord, or 4 times per measure. Find your way to make it sound pretty, sound Hawaiian, sound beautiful, lily in your hair type thing. Make it really beautiful. Is it a lily? It's a hibiscus they put in your hair, right? From the top. 1, 2, 3. Page turn didn't go. Okay, let's go back and do it one more time. Hopefully that's making some sense to you. It's 6, 4, 5, 4 half beat plus this half. Okay, from the top, one more time. Nice and slow. I'm having so much difficulty finding one. I know, Pam. They are out now. I believe eventually they'll have one more in. Toss me an email, Pam, and I will send her another one and see if they have any time slot for when they're coming. I will tell you, you guys, and I do get this question from time to time. Can you email me or can you mail me, a ukulele? And the problem is that in order to mail you a ukulele, it's $80 to $100, and that's through UPS, right? And you don't dare do it through the post office, which would be cheaper, but it ain't going to arrive in one piece. So I can only do UPS. And when somebody's in desperate straits and they're ready to pay that kind of shipping, I do it for them. But it doesn't make any sense from a mathematics to do that. I can direct you guys to a couple of callas that you can get off of Amazon that aren't terrible. And of course, Amazon has a completely different cost structure because they've already figured out how to do shipping. But for those of us little guys who have to actually, go to the UPS store to drop off stuff, it doesn't make any sense for me to take care of your ukulele needs, because the price just completely takes it off the table in terms of cost effectiveness for you and for me. So I just don't ship ukuleles anymore. It just doesn't. The price doesn't work. However, if you are interested in Ohana, you should go to their website, see who your local Ohana dealer is. I think they have a map or something on there, or at least they'll tell you who near you carries, at least has a Ohana dealership. Now, just because it says they're Ohana dealer doesn't mean they have a room full of Ohanas there. It just means that they've done the work necessary to get where they can order from them. And you will probably still, for most music stores, they don't really care about ukuleles because there's so little money in this. And believe me, there is so little money in this. At the end of the year, when I do my taxes, I do all this ukulele sales, all these supplies, all of this stuff. At the end of the year, it basically is a wash with my rent, right? So I've got all this ukulele sales and my rent, and then basically it zeroes out, and it's like, well, that was a lot of work for nothing. But I do it as a service for our local ukulele people. What music stores work on is, hey, we're going to sell you guitars, we're going to sell you pianos, we're going to sell you violins. There is money in those activities. And then what we're really going to get our money from is getting you in here for lessons to keep you coming in for doing that. And then when you're here, you're going to buy a book, and you're going to buy a kazoo, and you're going to buy all these small things. You're going to buy little gifts for your friends. That's how music stores stay alive. And as you know, you can buy all of that stuff on Amazon for less than your local music shop, and that's why all the music shops have gone out of business. And so it's not straight up Amazon's fault, but it is just a series of things that make it difficult for you it makes it easy for music stores to go out of business, despite the fact that we all love them and we want them. Bookstores had exactly the same problem, is that, for a while we had all these little bookstores, and then they went out of business when Barnes & Noble came along, and then Amazon came along and put Barnes & Noble out of business. So, as you know, it's the world we live in. Retail changes, things change. The good news about all that is that the used bookstores are actually doing pretty okay, because you can't get those books off of Amazon. So that little used bookstore down the street from you, go support them, right? But in any event, if you're looking for this particular ukulele in your neighborhood, go to the Ohana website to find out which store that is. Call them up and say, hey, are you actively an Ohana ukulele dealer? And then say, yeah, I need you to talk to them about whether they can get in a 35G or not. Right now, like I say, I call Stephanie directly on the front desk at Ohana, and she checks their inventory, and especially with the COVID situation and working with China and all that stuff, it's very difficult to get supplies in right now. The stuff coming out of China is very backed up, so it's hard to get it in anyway. I order my music stands. The music stand's it's different than this one, but it's similar. It folds up. I ordered that one out of Canada, and I haven't been able to get those forever because there's no the shipments across the border are not happening, and so that's the world we're living in right now. Part of the thing. It'll change. It'll get different, and I think long term, the two ukuleles that I like that are in the rational price range are either Kala, K-A-L-A, which you can buy all their stuff on Amazon. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And then Ohana, which they don't put their stuff on Amazon. You do have to talk to a dealer about. And I've only played one bad Kala in all these years, and I've had a couple of challenges with Ohana, but they always take them back right away. So it's not, it's like, oh, that one, we let one get away that wasn't ready to go out type thing. And of course I've sold a lot of those. The other brand I sell is Cordova, but I've been increasingly concerned about some of their quality issues, and so I don't sell a ton of them. And so just be mindful, if you do go buy a ukulele and you're not here in town, take it over to a guitar shop right away. Not Guitar Center, but any other small local guitar shop, and say, hey, can you check this out? Does it need a setup? It does, probably. Can you double check the neck? So when you have a new ukulele that you just bought, have them check the neck. That's the one thing that you can't fix on a ukulele. It costs about $400 or $500 to replace the neck on a ukulele, and when you pay $200 or $300 for the ukulele, doesn't make a lot of sense. So there's the insight into the retail life of a ukulele establishment. And so just know when it says, hey, that this store near you is an Ohana dealership, they may or may not have any ukuleles in stock at all, but they do have the ability to call up and get them probably. And so it's worth getting developing a little bit of a relationship there and seeing, hey, can you check on these BK35Gs? And you can check with me right now. They don't have any. I bought the last ones. All right, and the ones I bought were all blemished, right? So, the cute part about Ohana is they'll say, this is a blem, and you're looking it over, and you're like, where the heck is it a blemish? And this one was reasonably obvious. There's a little bit of a variation in finish, but the other 5 that I got, I can't even find the blemish on. I don't know why they're blems. All right, last time through, Aloha Oe. Then I want to take just a moment to talk about our future in ukulele. Okay, it's going to change pretty dramatically here next week. So 3-beat count in, and then Aloha Oe. This is our swan song. Ukulele players, give us the chords. 1, 2, 3. Let me see. Until all fours. All right. Beautiful. 4, 4, 4. Nice song. So let's talk very quickly about a couple things coming up in your life, which may or may not be a good thing for you. And 4, 4, 4. This is your last week of foundations, right? And so at the end of the week, we'll talk about how you're feeling about everything and making sure you feel like, oh, things are great. By the way, welcome in, Janice. Just saw your note that you're late to the party. So at the end of this week, we're done, right? Truthfully, you were done at the end of last week. We're now doing lessons 28 today, which is Aloha Oe. Pretty tough song, definitely a Book 2 level type song. And 29 tomorrow, Scarborough Fair. Again, pretty tough song. So we're working on stuff in Book 2. Right, so you just finished calculus. At this week, we sort of take a preview of what Calc 2 is going to look like, and then on Thursday we're going to do America and America the Beautiful, which again are Book 2 songs. And the reason you're doing them is because I need to get those. I like to do those early because every year around July 4th I have to put up all this Americana stuff, which I'm not a huge fan of. And so if I just get a little bit done here and there over the next month or so, it won't be as aggravating as having to do it all at once. So you'll be getting a couple of legitimate Book 2 songs. And Aloha Oe and Scarborough Fair are both definitely that level of song. So at the end of this week, we will play through. Basically, you will be playing out of Book 2, and you'll get a general sense of, hey, do I know what I'm doing? Am I feeling pretty good about it? And then starting next week, Foundations class at this time slot goes away completely. So this will be the end of the noon time slot. Now, the one thing that's going to happen, we're going to push this on over into 4 p.m. Going into the future, which means Janice, of course, who's already staying up late in Scotland, will probably not be able to attend the live sessions. But Janice is a good player, and so she knows how to use her resources to find what she needs on the website at this point. But what will happen, at least, and this is still a little bit up in the air, Foundations class in this time slot will go away completely. And then starting either May 24th or June 1st, I haven't quite settled 100% on that date, we will then move this class into the 4 p.m. Mountain Time slot, and it will also be combined with a Book 2 study and a Book 3. So we're going to use that 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. slot to continue our education section, where we're teaching you how to play and getting you leveled up type thing, so that's when this will happen. I'm having a hard time thinking through completely how to fit books 1, 2, and 3 into a 1 hour time slot, but part of the reason for me doing that is I need to spend a little less time teaching and a little bit more time writing, and so that's my overall thought process looking into the summer. Plus, you guys it's summertime, right? So you guys will be out and wandering the streets and picking fights and all that stuff until all hours of the morning, and so you're going to want to sleep in so that you can make it to class on time. So with summertime coming around, what we'll do, we'll reduce the overall number of classes being offered, but what we are going to offer will be a little high intensity. So that will be the plan. So anyway, at the end of this week, you're done with the noon hour. I would look at least for next week, joining the 1 o'clock class, which they're getting ready to start on lead sheets. And today we're going to be doing Blackbird by the Beatles. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. That's the song we're working on in level 2, or in Tough Uke, which is really level 3, I think. So we're going to start working on that stuff there. So please join us in that hour. Also, send me an email if you have concerns or questions. And this summer, I will probably be able to offer lessons again. And so some of you may need if you're here locally, you might want to come check in for a once a month type thing where you just check in, make sure you're not doing something crazy. And then if you are distance, of course, we can do a Zoom type thing, but I'll have some more time during the day to squeeze those types of things in. And again, I'm sort of starting to adjust the way I work to handle the summer and then into the fall. And I love teaching this foundations class more than anything I teach. And so I think it's the most important way to get you started in music in a solid way. And so we're going to keep it moving forward in some fashion where it makes sense for new players to join in. And then for those of you who are continuing to keep your skill set advancing higher and higher. So that's my plan right at the moment. I'm still fussing through some of the details, but I will make sure that you have it, that you don't run out of ukulele. And Mary says, got some tough, yay. Yeah, so thank you guys. I did need the weekend to get some stuff done, and unfortunately, some of the stuff that needed to get done needs a whole lot more doing than I thought. So I do have to make some time for some other stuff as well. So, Mary, good to see you. Janice, thanks for making it in. Pam, Rob, Michelle. Let's see who else said hi. So hope everyone had a great Mother's Day. Yeah, Mom. Yeah, those of you. Well, hope everybody had a great Mother's Day weekend, especially moms and grandmas, right? All right, stay out of. Yeah, I know, Rob. Stay out of trouble. That's it, guys. Have a wonderful day. If you want to play some Beatles, come to the next hour, and I will see all of you there. And let's see. Janice says, hope to keep hanging in. We'll check out times. Yeah, exactly, Janice. When I had to make these chime changes, you were number one on my list of, well, shoot, now Janice isn't going to be able to make it. So please know Janice is killing me. The only other way to deal that is for me to wake up at midnight and do a 2 a.m. class here, and I'm not good at that time of the day. So, so Janice, we'll figure out some way to keep you moving forward. And you're a good musician. You know what to do. So. You're great. Thanks, Michelle. Mary, you bet. And Rob, we appreciate. You guys are sweet. All right, I'm back. We're ready to keep moving forward. And I will see all of you either next hour for a little bit of Beatles music, or I'll see you tomorrow for Scarborough Fair. You might want to look at Scarborough Fair this afternoon. It's definitely a challenging piece. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Peace.